Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dave Trippin'. I feel like I'm going to lose the light pretty fast here, and I wanted to make a video today, so I thought I'd just pull over here in the 7-Eleven parking lot and do a little rant as people go about their business. Not really a rant. The question in the email was, do different foreigners get treated differently in Japan? And I can assume from that, obviously everyone as an individual is treated differently, but that kind of relates more to what ethnic group that you are from. And it's a fair question, and I would say absolutely there's like a bunch of different levels you could approach this from, but I would say absolutely you do. Some of it good, some of it bad, a lot of it based in stereotype, as you might expect. So I'll start kind of from my personal experience, and that is to say that if the Japanese, basically, of a person who speaks English, they have the ultimate archetypal stereotype. And that is a white American. White Americans, to the Japanese mind, speak English. And so if you're from North America and you come here, that's basically what they're going to assume is your not your ethnic, but your global background, is that you are from America. I can't count the number of times that I've been in my school and I've been asked what is life like back in America, and I'm happy to tell them. I go into great detail. I enjoy it. The only problem is I'm not from America. That's the problem. But I think it's kind of silly at this point to correct them, and I get to tell a lot of really fun stories. I'm sorry to the distortions that I've spread about America so far, but mostly they're just entertaining and harmless. So that's kind of my experience with it, is that if you're white and you don't have a distinct accent like the UK or something like that, say Australia, for example, they'll assume that you are American. So that's kind of a stereotype that gets put on you here for Caucasians. Next to that, I would say, is obviously the color of your skin is going to have a huge effect. It really does. Not necessarily, in some ways negative, but not always negative, and I'll touch on kind of those different ideas as I go here. There's like some interesting glare going on in this video. That's fine though. So my buddy, I felt bad for him. I had a really good friend. He's from England. He was my roommate for quite some time when I was here, and spoke fantastic Japanese, actually. He had this issue where he was from England, born and raised, but ethnically is Indian, and a number of times the Japanese could not believe that he could speak English, and were always surprised by it, which you might imagine is sort of insulting for a guy who comes from the country that sort of birthed the language, so to speak. And he would, in class, when he first started out, there would be people who'd say, "Wow, your English is really good. I'm surprised." And he'd have to just roll with it and we go, "Yeah, it's not too bad. That's where I was born and what I grew up speaking." So you can expect that I would be okay at it. So there is that as well, that if your skin color doesn't match, again, this kind of stereotype that they might have of the white American, then they may question your ability with English. That does happen. It happened to him on a number of different occasions, and I can definitely confirm that sort of, I don't want to call it a prejudice, just a sort of stupid stereotyping, does absolutely exist. Then, to move beyond that, I would say that definitely ethnic groups get treated in a different... There's a blanket way that foreigners are treated, first off, and that is that you're foreign. So that's kind of interesting to the Japanese as a placeholder. You are different from them, and you are treated differently for that reason. And that comes with a bunch of negative and good things, where they might assume that you don't understand sort of their social niceties, the way in which they are polite and behave themselves in everyday interactions. But it also kind of elevates you to a sort of cool status because you are not of the culture. It makes you unique, and that's interesting. And that's a lot of fun and to be expected. Both sides of that, of course it's going to be expected, because this is something I've echoed before, because in Japan it truly is a monoculture. It truly is that foreigners stand out, especially if you're in the countryside, not so much if you're in big heavily populated areas of Tokyo where there really is a diversity, you stand out as the representative of your ethnic group, of your country that you come from. And so if one douchebag came through before you, the impression that that town has of foreigners can be wholly bad. It's also exciting because it affords you the opportunity to create the first impression that people have of a foreign person. So it cuts both ways, obviously. Now, I've just touched on that there is this sort of blanket different way that they will treat you as a foreigner, but then it does break down into further delineations where I'm sure there was a very popular video done about black people in Japan, and there is definitely these sort of subcultural groups and the way that I don't know if that's even the right way to say it, just different cultural groups based on ethnicity in different places that you're around the world that would then have a different sort of behavior, and it's that I think would frustrate a lot of people. I have a few of them, but they're not so pronounced as they are with black people, say, where black people, they definitely have this kind of black people must be rhythmic, must be good at music, blah, 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 are kind of like, they're just cool because they're black, which I don't think is a bad presumption to make. I don't know who would fight back against that, but no one likes to be put in a box. Nobody likes to be told who they are before they've had a chance to express what that actually is, obviously. And you'll see that for different cultural groups and different foreigners come over. There's the sort of stereotype for British people that they might be overly polite and very proper and so on and so forth. All those kind of stereotypes I just mentioned for black people. I don't know specifically the ones for Australians. I think Australians are seen kind of as in a similar way that they might be seen in Canada, where it's kind of like thrill seekers, kind of an exciting culture, devil may cry kind of attitude towards life. I believe that is created a lot because the Australians do come over to snowboard a lot in Japan. You wondered when I've gone to Hokkaido, I was like, the majority of the people here are all Australian. And then with Canada, it's almost as though you could watch videos on this. There's almost a comical lack of perception. That's what it boils down to for us, which I don't mind. I again like, because I truly get to create it as opposed to them having made some kind of assumption beforehand, aside from that I'm American, where the only association I've ever heard, and this might be with the rest of the world of Canadians, is maple syrup, and they're nice. That's all that people ever say about us, and I'm fine with that, because like I say, it allows you to truly create a unique impression where they're like, oh, I didn't know that about Canadians, that you might do this or you might do that. But it's quite bland, just as we are so often seen around the rest of the world. I suppose Japan shares that with much of the world. Nobody cares, nobody knows, whatever. And that's fine. But that's kind of the essence of it, is that you will, in terms of English, be treated in a different way, and then depending on where you might come from around the world, you'll be treated another way as well. There's a lot of presumptions made about the sort of person that you are going to be. And take it or leave it, that's the way it is, and it's not, some of it's good and some of it's bad, but that's life, right? Get over it. We're always trying to improve. We're always trying to broaden our perspective. And Japan is hugely, you know, they're expanding, and they're definitely much more a part of the greater world while still retaining their culture. And I would say that the world is, at least socially, you'd be blind as a bat not to say that the world is progressing socially. You'd be crazy. I think it is, in my opinion, and I would defend that, I think, well. But those are my thoughts. Good, interesting video. And of course, like I say, if you want to look up more stuff like this, there is. If you want to see, there's lots of great Black J vloggers. If you want to check them out, they've got whatchamacallit, you know, their own site and their own perspective and personal experience. There's a guy named like Piggles the Gaijin or something, and he was talking about his own experience. I know that Rachel and June, throwing out little shout outs here. Not that Rachel and June need this, or Pickles, he's actually doing quite well. But they had a very popular kind of viral video on what they had interviewed a number of different black people and their experiences in Japan and stuff. So you can find that. I might even link it down in the description. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Have a look, see if I did. So you can really explore this topic if you want to, beyond my kind of general chat about it here now. So if you like the video, please do ignore the thumb in front of the camera there, and like and subscribe and comment. What are your experiences as a foreigner here? What were your perceptions of how foreigners would be treated? If you want to follow me on social media, that'll be down below. I've got my Great Owl channel. I'm going to flash that up there. If you're a gamer checking this out, yes, I'm into video games far more than I should be, and I have my Let's Play channel and all sorts of gaming stuff to check out there. And I appreciate you dropping by the video. I've really noticed that in the last little while, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't know what it is, but I've been getting a more steady rate of subscribers, and I really appreciate that. Something's got to be going right, and I appreciate all the new ones. Thank you for dropping by, and I especially appreciate all the people who've been around from the start and comment on all these videos and write me emails like this one that allow me to continue to discuss things, because like I've said to a few people recently, if nobody was doing that, I'd be talking to myself and the whole thing would be pointless. It's to share experience and learn and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you. That's all. I'll finish it off, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ciao for now. Peace.